Many people tell me that they can't travel because they don't have enough money, and I understand that in some cases they really don't have enough money. Obviously, if you have many debts, you are not making too much, you have to work 10, 15 hours a day just to repay all your debts and pay for your living. Well, traveling can be challenging. At the same time, I really believe that most of those people have this misconception that they can't travel, and the reality is that they can actually afford to travel. Because I met people who would tell me that, you know what, Jimmy, you travel so much, I wish I could do the same thing. I wish I could travel even twice a year. And then I look down at their shoes and I ask them, by the way, how much were these shoes? They're really nice. And they say, I don't know, like 150 pounds. And I'm like, all right, okay, it explains a lot. Because you see, it's all about your priorities, you know. Sometimes you think that you don't have enough money, but if you only cut some other expenditures, you'll be able to accumulate enough money to travel the world. Now, one thing I definitely want to mention is that people have this misconception that traveling is just about visiting exotic locations. It's just about going to that other continent, booking a 5-star hotel, basically the VIP adventure. But the reality is that traveling is not about that. Traveling can be about something as simple as taking that one local train and going 2 hours away from your hometown to explore that mountain or to explore that forest or that lake. It doesn't have to be anything complicated, anything expensive, anything exotic. You can actually find many great places wherever you live. And really, I believe in that. It doesn't matter in which country you live. You can name any country. You can tell me that you live in Nigeria, you live in the US, you live in the UK, you live in Spain. It doesn't matter. There are always places to explore. So if you are on a very, very small budget, you can always start by exploring your own territory, and then later on, when you manage to get your stuff together, you manage to become stronger financially, that's when you can engage in all of those trips abroad. Now, one thing I definitely need to speak about is that so many people spend money on stuff they don't really need. So my best example, okay, something that really makes me laugh sometimes is that especially in London, I met people who would tell me that they can't travel because they don't have money. And then they would buy Starbucks coffee every single morning. And then sometimes they would buy another Starbucks coffee, like during the day, let's say during the lunch break. Think about it, Starbucks coffee. I don't remember exactly because I lived in the UK a while ago, but I think it was like £3 for a big one, so like €4 for a big coffee. So imagine spending €8 a day for a coffee, €8 a day. It's ridiculous, okay? €8 a day, it's like, you know, it equates to like €2,500 per year. It's ridiculous. If you take that money and you decide, you know what, instead of buying that Starbucks coffee that I love, I'm gonna change that habit. I'm gonna make a conscious decision to make coffee myself. Maybe it will not be as fancy. Maybe I'll spend a couple of minutes. Maybe I will not enjoy it so much. But at least it will enable me to save this €2,500 every year that I can spend on 2 or 3 amazing adventures or 1 luxurious holiday in some cool destination, like Fiji, for example. So it's all about thinking outside the box and thinking about all of those small expenditures, because when people think about saving money for traveling, they usually think in terms of big things, okay? How they can, you know, for example, sell some of their, you know, electronic equipment to get $500, $1,000, or they think about saving money on big things. But you see, the reality is that it's about all of those small things that accumulate every single day, because when you add up all of those things, then they turn out to be a huge sum of money. So what I want you to do is to make a conscious decision to really track your expenditures. And again, if you are watching this video and you are doing very well financially, it may not apply to you, but still I think it's a good idea to track your expenditures and always ask yourself, is this really necessary? Wouldn't I rather save this money for my future adventures? Because think about it. Sometimes what happened to us, you know, we humans, we are addicted to buying stuff. We want to buy new flashy things all the time. And it's, you know, partially because of all the advertisements, all of the stimuli that's bombarding our minds. Okay, you go to the shop, you know that you have to buy that one shirt for the office. Your budget is €50. You go to the shop and you see this amazing offer. Buy 2 shirts, get 1 free. You're like, wow, it's a good offer. I gotta use it. You know, so you take and you buy 3 shirts. You know, you spend maybe 80 or 90 euros. Then you see those amazing shoes. You say to yourself, oh, you know, they are on the offer, you know, minus 40%. I have to buy them. And guess what happens? You leave the shop, with 200 euros less in your pocket. And of course you rationalize that was a good decision, okay, I made such a great deal. But then you end up spending all this money, and then by the end of the month, you look at your bank account and you realize that you don't really have too much left. But think about it. If these situations happen, then later on, when you stumble upon some really amazing offer, for example, going from London to the Dominican Republic for 250 euros return, you want to buy it, but you don't have any money, to use. So I believe that it's way better to save money every single day on all of those small things. So later on, when you stumble upon that amazing offer, offer that you just don't want to miss, at least you have the budget to make that investment, all right? It's very important. And finally, perhaps it will apply to your situation. You see, if you don't have money to travel, perhaps you should consider changing your career. Perhaps you should consider changing your profession. Maybe taking a gap year, doing something else. I don't know your personal situation, but if you are a recent grad and you started working for this company, in this graduate role, but you really want to travel, every single day you keep thinking about traveling, you essentially have this passion for traveling, well, perhaps you have to rethink what you want to do in life. Perhaps you have to redesign your current lifestyle, and perhaps you have to change something. Maybe you should find a job abroad. It's amazing. I mean, for example, if you live in London or you live in New York, you work in 9-to-5 job, and the only thing you want to do, the only thing you really want to do, pursue, is traveling. Well, perhaps it's better to get lower paying job in a very exotic location. Maybe fly over to Greece, get a little bit less paying job, but then again, you spend less money on living. So it turns out to be the same financially, but at least you can explore new territories, learn new languages, and embrace adventure. So really think about those concepts. I think that they are really important because I've seen way too many people who, they are 35, 40, 45 years old. They look back at their lives thinking, you know what, I really wish I traveled more. And then they have this excuse, but I didn't have enough money. But at the back of their heads, they know that it was just an excuse because they know that if they put enough effort, they would have found a way, okay? So think about it, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.